go check on... Well, what do they have left on this floor? Yeah, they're still mining up here. That's fine. Okay. I just need to be patient. I could really use an immigrant wave. I think I haven't asked for one of those in several versions, but I could really use one, actually. How ironic. I know I'll hate them later, but... yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay. Helix, I do use stones and not blocks for walls for now. My masons have plenty to do without that middle step. I understand that walls build faster out of blocks, but there is an in-between step of a mason having to make them into the blocks the first time. And I'm not really worried about storage, so there's no advantage other than... I mean, there's no advantage for my current fort. So... there are advantages to it, just not right now. Excellent! Migrants have arrived. Okay, let's see how many we get. Give me lots. We can get a broker out of this. Which reminds me, we're gonna need a chair for that. When in doubt, you need more coffins. Always. That is totally what I do. Kitchen. We've got lots rolling here. Got rock crafts going. Biggest advantage is how slow it takes to move the stones. That is a valid point. Nice day 9 reference. There's Virgin. Yes, that is an advantage. We're not actually building that much wall right now. That is an advantage. That is a valid point. For those of you that didn't hear Helix, that didn't see Helix's post, the biggest advantage is how slow it takes to move the stones themselves. Making blocks doesn't seem to take that long, even with a cluttered workshop. No, it doesn't, but I have plenty of things that need to be made in my one mason shop. I don't have a very big population, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just being lazy. We have not had any fun Wonder by with the Necromancer Morkotu. It has just been just little old me. We had a mood. We're actually going to take this opportunity. We're going to see just how many dwarves we got. 43! Oh my god! Okay, I wanted a few. I didn't want like 1,000. That was a giant wave. 26. Son of a bee. Mood crafter. That's awesome. Okay. That's great. That's fantastic. So let's organize these by whatever. And we're going to make these first 3 additional in the farming industry. And then we're going to make we're going to add two to our masonry industry. We're going to call that commit. And we're going to go back and check. Biggest wave Morkotu has gotten is 37. That is really unfortunate. That is really, really unfortunate. That is just a pain to deal with. I really wanted like 8. 8 I think would have been an ideal. And no children. Just 8 perfectly capable adults. Preferably decent in some reasonably used anything. Okay. So that should get us set for the foreseeable future. come down here and see how this mining's going. If they've even gotten to... Oh, yes. Look at all that granite. Look at all that granite. What up? We want you to widen these paths, you know? Play like you mean it here. Okay. You can totally fake it. I just need you to act like you care about your job a single day. You effing dwarf. Magic class. Dark Shrine is a StarCraft 2 reference for Protoss needing the... Win behind Dark Shrine is Day 9, a StarCraft 2 caster. And he always says that when a Protoss player is behind, they should Dark Shrine so they can make the invisible Dark Templar. Max to date is 77. Oh my god. They did not used to be anywhere near that high. Wow, thank you for checking that, Morkotu. God, they did not used to be capable of being that stupid. Okay. I know there's ways to mod it so you can control that, but I don't like doing that. What the hell is going on with... Why is that cart there? Okay, let's check. It's at the dump. I don't understand why that cart stopped. Spurgeon 77 would explode my brain. Oh my god, that I would be so pissed if it was 77. Okay, we have pictures of skeletons, pictures of a quarry, pictures of skeletons, pictures of a quarry. Okay, so what he could be asking for is blocks. I don't actually know all of that stuff off the top of my head. So we're going to go ahead and make a few blocks. And he does need a skeleton. Make sure that's not pet passable, but is passable. Now he can get down there. Now, this is a good opportunity to slay any animals that may have come with... I did embark with 40 war dogs in case anybody doesn't remember that shenanigans. We're going to go ahead and slay the donkey foal. I don't care if it hits full grown and gets bigger. And we're going to slay, slaughter, destroy. I have 2 horses, so I don't know. Maybe some of these puppies. I don't know. Yeah, we'll get some puppy meat going. Okay. Puppy meat! Should be dependent on the world gen since migrants exist in the game before they come. I did not know that, Helix. I did not know. The more migrants, the more unfortunate accidents I can cause. Excellent point, Scion. Excellent point. Okay. And just in case something really unfortunate happens here, we are going to begin our safety mechanism here. Since I didn't leave a wall around him, I'm just going to build one. And I still have 25 idle dwarves, so I am actually going to think about possibly adding some more masons to the bunch. Commit those changes. Okay. Captain Duck did an LP with a near tower embark and had a necromancer show up rather early on. Wasn't pretty. Welcome back, Hearth. Yeah, I haven't had any problem with the Necromancer Tower yet. I'm not imagining that I won't, though. A longer than expected walk. Was this walk to a destination, or with a lovely lady, or something of that effect? Let's go ahead. Let's start finishing up a little more of this wall. And then it's probably time to actually consider planning how we're going to do this track-wise. So, Okay, so there's something to think about when just getting out of the house. Fair enough. Keeping off that cave adaptation. So there's something to think about when you're starting your automation is how is it going to integrate with your trade industry? Do you plan on trading for the gain of that material? Because if we just make this an A to B, if we just make our subterranean food, as a specific example, if we just make it go from the farms to the stills and back, that's all our brewable shit does. How does that help us when we trade for brewable plants? Okay, we have all of our empty barrels in the whole fort get stored at our stills, and we trade for more barrels. Where do those barrels go, right? So one of the things you have to start to integrate is now all of a sudden, if you really start to think down the line, that's great. When you first start, just A and B is plenty. But when you really start to move forward with this, you really have a third stop always. Okay? And you can either have A and B, and then you can either have farm to basically still, and then have trade to still to trade, should you want to trade drinks. I don't ever. So you can have your shit from your trade depot also go there, or you can have a trade to farm for seeds, and you can kind of make this weird triangle of ABs, or you can start to really think to the next level of complexity and say, well, I'm not picking up things that often from my trade depot, so we'll start at our trade depot and we'll pick up anything that's there, and then we'll swing by our farm where there's always going to be more than enough, and we'll pick up the brewable things there. We'll go to the still and we'll just dump it all at once. Okay? So now let's think even one step further. We could make a loop where it picks up your brewable plants from your trade depot, not always even any, all of our brewable plants from our farms, hopefully a constant supply, then drops them off. Then we could have a separate loop, pick up all of our barrels from our wood depot, all of our barrels from our trade depot, maybe in that order, maybe the other way, and then drop them both off at the same time at our brewery. Or, for the people who really like to entangle their forts, you could pick up all of your barrels. You could pick up all of your food from the trade depot, all of your food from the farms, all your food and barrels from the trade depot, all your food from the farms, all of your barrels from the carpenter's workshop, and then just dump it all at once. Okay? So you kind of have a couple options, and the more you think about it, and the more you let your mind get blown, so if you work kind of a monotonous job like mine is sometimes, so the more you just kind of go, well, what if, you really realize that this is not that simple. I mean, it's a really unique problem, and we've looked at the problem in the past as, here's the industry, now how do I solve it for that industry? But now, I just want you to think for a second and say, here is the dwarves, how do I solve this for the dwarves? So what is the easiest way for the dwarves that are doing this? So I'm thinking the easiest for this fort is going to be